so much for joining on our first vlog at the Better Business Bureau, Building Better Business. Today we have Ashley Mason from Dash of Social. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Paula.
So it's great to actually connect. I've heard a lot about you. Your reputation precedes itself, that you're one of the best in the industry here in Massachusetts. Tell me a little bit about how do you come up with your great business ideas?
Absolutely. So I started Dash of Social just over 4 years ago in September 2016. And for me, I had actually come up with the idea because I've always been entrepreneurial minded. So since the age of 6, it was something that I've always wanted to do one day, is just become a business owner. But it was something that I was constantly thinking about what exactly that would be. And truthfully, I had no idea. It wasn't until I was 15 in 2012 when I started a fashion and lifestyle blog, where I basically used social media to grow that blog organically, and then therefore received the opportunity to work with tons of companies through paid partnerships. As I started working with these companies, I realized that most of them barely had a social media presence or any at all. And I realized from my own experience of building my blog through social media, just how important it was to really build, grow, and scale a business. And so from there, because I had gotten into so many different marketing that I had to learn for myself, I really started to become really passionate about it. And so I wanted to learn more about marketing, but also help out these companies that I had a relationship with, and therefore offered them pro bono marketing services to build marketing strategies, manage their social media profiles, handle the communications with influencers, and things of that nature. As I got more into it, I realized that marketing was something that I really, really love to do. And I actually ended up getting into freelancing by the time that I was 17. So I just entered my senior year of high school, and I got my first few, thank you, first few freelance clients. So it's kind of like I had an aha moment. I was like, all of a sudden, it's like a light bulb went off, and I knew I wanted to own a business. And finally, I was like, that's it. Like, a marketing firm is exactly what I want to do. And so I ended up launching Dash of Social 2 years later in 2016, when I was 19, at the beginning of my sophomore year of college.
That's amazing. And let me just say, 15 years old and to start your own business and know what you want to do. I can barely get my children off their PCs playing video games. So that's very impressive.
Thank you.
Tell me, as an entrepreneur, what is something that you find that maybe other entrepreneurs aren't doing that they should be doing, because you're engaging with them? They're your clients now. So you've actually grown up, becoming your own entrepreneur. What advice or knowledge do you have based on that?
Absolutely. So this would probably be related to marketing specifically, but one of the biggest problems or issues that I see with business owners is that they think social media is the golden ticket for building their awareness and brand. And so that's the only thing they focus on. They don't really look at the other, what I like to call, pieces of the marketing pie. So they may have a website, but they're not blogging. They're not really focused on building their email list. They're not focusing on paid ads or PR or anything like that. They really just kind of stick to social media, which I say you get the best results when you use all parts that go into a marketing strategy, because you are driving people from place to place. And also with that too, it's very risky to put all of your eggs in one basket. And so building your brand just on one platform is a really big risk to take, because you never know if that platform could end up getting taken away from you, if someone hacks it or if Facebook or Instagram shuts it down. So that is what I would highly recommend to people, is just really diversifying your marketing efforts from the beginning, because it makes it so much easier to do everything at once than years down the line start to bring these pieces into place.
That's great information, and great feedback, because I have found working with businesses the same thing. They want to focus on one area. In reality, it's not one piece of the pie. It's the entire pie that you should be looking at. Do you find that, are your clients mostly based here in New England?
Most of them, yes, which is very exciting, because it actually had started out that most of my clients were actually in different areas of the country. But over the past few years, I spent a lot of time getting to meet people face to face pre-pandemic, but now virtually too. And so I really enjoy getting able to work with local businesses, knowing that they're in the same state or even the same region, and being able to support them from there.
That's great. And you mentioned the pandemic. And so we've all find ourselves in this new virtual world. Everything is online meetings, hangouts. How do you keep yourself organized? There's so many different programs out there. There's Trello, there's Monday, all are great. Some work better. What's your feedback, and how do you keep organized in that manner?
Absolutely. So with team communications, we use Slack. If it's something where we need to kind of ask each other a quick question or get some advice on something, we'll communicate there. So it's not shared with the client. It's just for like our internal team members and subcontractors. We also swear by Google Drive just because of the fact that it's so collaborative and being able to easily share access with people and allow for editing and stuff like that. And then for kind of like internal stuff, I love using 17 Hats, which is like a CRM. And it's great for sending contracts, invoices, questionnaires, more so like those important documents for being able to manage our clients. And then also for like the actual project management, we use Asana. So that has just been a total lifesaver with being able to have different projects for different clients and really understand what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, and who it needs to be done by. So that way nothing slips through the cracks.
You mentioned you started at 15, continued to grow at 17, and now you found yourself with clients, and again, very well known here in the area. What would you tell your younger self starting out that you've learned, or you wish you knew back at a younger age?
Absolutely. So one thing that I love sharing is that I never knew how much mindset came into play with being a business owner. I always thought that strategy was what will help to bring you to success, but it's really mindset, I feel like, plays a much bigger role. And so that's one thing that I've really struggled with, is feeling like I can't really almost get out of my own head. Like, it was kind of funny. I was speaking with someone a few days ago and they were like, what was your biggest challenge starting a business? And I was like, I feel like my biggest challenge is myself, like imposter syndrome, doubting what I can do, not being able to turn off when it comes to working and stuff like that outside of work hours. And so that is one thing I'd really recommend to myself with just starting, is really understanding the value that I bring and knowing that I am an expert in what I do, and also knowing that it's okay to kind of have those boundaries between work and life, and being able to kind of take that step back and take care of yourself, because what you're good at doing will bring you success, but really focusing on self-care routines and focusing on what you can do to improve your overall the care that you have for yourself can do so much more.
Right. I think that's great feedback. I'm similar in the fact where boundaries, saying no, making not every opportunity is an opportunity that is necessarily good for you and your business, and not feeling guilty about saying no.
Exactly.
That's huge and great feedback. We talk about owning your own business, right? And there's so many small businesses out there. Unfortunately, the pandemic has really taken a toll on several of these small businesses. In regards to social media, and more specifically, I have businesses coming to me saying, I want to launch a Facebook page. I have Instagram. How do we get those hooked up? If you could say, what are the top, 3 to 5 things that you would recommend they focus on if they simply just want to get started on Facebook and Instagram?
Absolutely. So with both of them, definitely making sure that you have an optimized profile. So making sure that when people go to the About section of your Facebook page or looking at the bio on your Instagram account, that it's really clear and concise who you are, what you do, and how you help, because that's kind of what will hook people in and let them know what they should be focusing on. Another thing to absolutely do is within every single post, have some type of call to action. So that is one thing that a lot of people, especially when they're just starting out with their business, struggle with, is the whole sales aspect. But one thing that I always say is, if you're a parent, think about how many times you have to ask your kids to do something before they actually do it. It's the same with marketing. And so you need to tell someone 5 times to click the link in your bio or to schedule a call before they actually go ahead and do it. And so that's why always including that call to action is so important. And then thirdly, this is more so focused on Facebook rather than both Facebook and Instagram, but definitely do not underestimate the power of Facebook groups. Those are huge, especially if you have a local demographic where if you kind of serve like a specific geographic region, being able to interact and engage with those town Facebook groups where your ideal clients or customers live is huge for being able to tap into a wider audience and build up that credibility for your brand.
That's a great point. I can't tell you how many women's groups I belong to.
Yes.
And I could spend all day just going back and forth. But it's really important. I try to set aside 30 minutes a day to go in and not only read on what can I get from it, but what can I give from it as well? Because I think
Yes.
you're just taking and not giving anything back. It can almost do the opposite. They say, oh, she's only on here when she needs something. And really it's all about community, and building each
Exactly
other
right.
up as well. What haven't we covered that you'd like to chat about, or that you think, again, it's our first vlog, so we're learning here. And hopefully, I think you came top of mind when I said I wanted to launch this vlog, because our small businesses really do need support and help, and they're not sure where to go. There's really so much information out there. Everybody claims to be an expert, but not necessarily is an expert. Is there anything that we didn't touch upon that you think, okay, small businesses are watching this? We talked a little bit about being an entrepreneur, about steps they can take for social media. Anything you would want to add?
Absolutely. So I would say one of the most important things you can do outside of marketing for your business is actually building relationships. So I remember when I was just starting with my business, I remember, to me, networking almost felt like a cliche because I heard it over and over again, how important it was for your business. But it wasn't until I actually took the time to invest in that where I realized how much it paid off. So I love sharing with people what you can do to easily network with people. And especially during these times where we can't necessarily meet in person or attend those events. One thing that I recommend is actually doing something just like we're doing right now, which is jumping on a Zoom call with people that are really interesting to you. And exactly like you said, Paula, having that mindset of what can I do to give rather than what can I do to get. So I remember one thing I did a lot, probably 2 years ago, was I just looked at a bunch of different business owners who had kind of like complementary businesses to me, basically. So I connected with accountants, bookkeepers, business coaches, people who might share similar client bases as me, and just kind of got to get to know them really and learned about their business, what they're doing, what they're working on, and then always asked how I could support them. And so I found that that was something that ended up really kind of coming back tenfold, because of course it was never a sales call or anything like that. It was more so just getting to know the other person. And so I found that by setting up those calls and really getting to know people and broadening my network, that's what brought so much business back to me. And so definitely don't underestimate how much power networking has, especially when you feel like you're kind of low on leads or want to look into different lead generation strategies. That one is a huge one.
So, we mentioned before, or you mentioned, how many times do you have to tell your children to do something? And that's the call to action. And I'd like to pivot, because what you said right now makes sense, in regards to even being a mom and my children. It's that, the best feedback I can get as a parent is when someone tells me that, my child was respectful, or, what a great job I did parenting. And similar to that is when I see on social media, somebody almost being a brand ambassador for me, saying, I interacted with Paula and she provided value. And that's when it comes full circle. It comes back around, like you're talking about, giving, and then you don't even really have to do anything because you were just giving and helping support other people, and then they will come back and support you. So it's one of the entrepreneurs that I deal with. She said to me, I did this because I wanted to. I helped this person because I wanted to. I'm not asking for anything back. And you know what happened? I recommended her several times over, and will continue to do so, because she truly meant that. She truly meant, I'm just giving to give. I don't want anything back. And that stuck with me. And I will continue to be one of her biggest advocates for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. I know that with people, I find this more so with online-based businesses, but a lot of people tend to have this almost block where they're like, well, I don't want to give away too much info for free and then therefore not make any sales because I'm just saying everything, which, I mean, I understand, because of course you don't want to give away all the secrets and spend too much time helping people for free, but there is a lot of value in doing so. And so that was one thing that kind of, I guess, was a mix with my networking and Facebook group interaction that I mentioned. But what I did a lot within a few specific Facebook groups where my ideal clients were, was I was just consistently, so probably at least once per week, sharing free tips, advice, suggestions, strategies, etc., all about marketing. And people really helped to it really kind of helped people. And it was something that they kept in mind, because people would come and be like, oh, this is so helpful. Like, thank you for sharing. And stuff like that is what helps you to get noticed, because exactly like what you said with that entrepreneur, it's that whole idea of giving just to give and helping someone out. And then a few months down the line, or however long, that's when it ends up coming back to you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for your time. For those that are watching and want to reach out to you for more tips, or, to get information about your company, where should they go?
Absolutely. So my website is dashofsocial.com, and my handle on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter is also dashofsocial.
Easy enough. Thank you so much again. We appreciate it. And I look forward to working with you in the future.
Yes. Thank you, Paula.
Thanks.